Visitors will be the Midland Explorers. Kickoff. Midland Explorers will be Paul McLovich.
Hello and welcome to Ashland, Ohio. You're watching the Gremlins Network. I'm Jim Flanagan. Happy to be here today. Happy to have you with us from wherever you're watching. Your clock does say 2 o'clock Eastern Time. A little late starting this one. The earlier game ran long. On the field are the New York Gremlins, fresh off their victory last night. They are in their green uniforms. If they don't look green on your TV or screen, you need to adjust that dial. Here's the batting order for Midland in this one. It'll be Paul McLovich starting off, and there's the first pitch from Kuba Osikcha. Preston Sherman will bat second. Jordan Sherman bat third. Dallas Kipfer in the cleanup spot. Fred Bradford in the 5 spot. Owen Lucan 6. Mark Gwizdala in the 7 spot. Tony Wark in the 8 hole, and Chaz Hopkins in the 9th spot. Defensively, familiar cast of characters on the field for the Gremlins. As we noted last night, a number of the regulars not here. We'll talk about that a bit later. In the outfield in this one, Redemar over in left, Inoka in center, and Malarzuk in the outfield today. He's over in right field. The infield starting at third around the horn, Gonzalo Mazmu at third, Cole Evans at short, Tane Mumu at second base, and Eric Ochoa at first base. Doing the catching today, Brian Avery. Most of the catching duties have fallen to Nick Mullins and secondarily Blake Hunter. Blake not here, so Brian showing his versatility today, doing some catching as he had done for a good part of his career. Kuba Osikcha from the Czech Republic in the circle. Youngster fresh up out of the U19 division, stepped into the men's senior level now and carrying himself very well. He's a strikeout pitcher, so look for that as the day wears on. Midland Explorers last night played a game, the early one, against AWP. They came back and tied the game at 2 in the 7th, only to lose it when AWP had a walk-off win. Meanwhile, rise ball, there you see it, a good strikeout pitch from Osikcha. And McLovich down on strikes for the first out, first strikeout of the game. That'll bring up Preston Sherman for Midland. We've had a couple of looks at Midland during the early part of the season. We saw them in Port Huron. They are back here in Ohio. So playing, I guess you could say, the local loop as far as these teams go. Michigan and Ohio, always a great rivalry. Little change up off the plate outside. My early days in Michigan myself until I was 7 and headed out to California. So the weather feels a bit familiar here. Little foul tip with another change rise, it looked like, from Kuba. First name is actually Jacob, but he goes by Kuba. That's Kuba with a K as in strikeout, not C is in the country. Foul tip straight back to the screen. Gremlins last night came away with a victory. They had to come from behind to do it. Jack Besgrove notching 17, count 'em, 17 strikeouts on the night. Was a lights-out performance except for one inning. Circle Tap was down by 1 run. It was a 1-0 game after Eric Ochoa hit a towering home run to straightaway center. But Circle Tap scratched and clawed and got 2 runs in the bottom of that 5th inning to take a 2-1 lead, a lead that didn't last too long, but put the Gremlins to their paces. Matt Harrow, big hit in that inning for Circle Tap, youngster from Australia. That's a called strike 3. So 2 up and down quickly for Kuba. Kuba with 2 Ks.
Brings up the shortstop, number 34, Jordan Sherman.
That'll bring up the shortstop for Midland, Jordan Sherman. So brother following brother to the plate. Ball low inside. Just finishing the notes on that game last night. The Gremlins having to scramble. They scored 2 to take a 3-2 lead in the 6th and then added a couple of insurance runs. Swing and a miss on a good changeup. Buried that one downstairs. Youngster from Mexico, Abayardo Penuelas, putting on a performance last night for the Gremlins in his first ever start for the team. Abayardo was 3 for 3 on the night, including a double. Scored a couple of runs to go with it, so a big part of that victory formula coming courtesy of Mr. Penuelas. Swing and a miss. Good rise ball again from Ositka. Kuba follows another right-handed pitcher coming out of the Czech Republic, Michael Holobratic. Pitches, of course, for the number 2 ranked Hill United team. Saw his name on the lineup card this morning. He's pitching up in a tournament in Canada. Kuba is a bit younger, so Holobratic was the pitcher that Kuba grew up watching pitch and wanted to emulate. He's done a pretty good job of that. Change up downstairs. For a time, it was New Zealand and Australia sending players and pitchers in particular up to the U.S. to play in these circuits. Then it was Argentina and, of course, the likes of Waymo Mata and his countrymen. And of late, it's been the Czech Republic. And there's a lights-out performance already from Kuba in the first inning. 3 up and down, 3 Ks in your book if you're keeping it at home. No runs, no hits, no one left for Midland. We'll be back with the home half of the first inning right after this and get our first look at the New York Gremlins here on Saturday, July 20th, 2024. We'll be right back. Home half of the first inning. If you joined us late, you have not missed much. Game started about an hour behind schedule due to an earlier game running long. Let's cap the umpires for you while we have a moment. Behind home plate, Ed Otterman from Kitchener, Ontario. Kevin Wallace is down at first base. Kevin hails from Shipman, Illinois. And for the geographically challenged, that's down near St. Louis. Third base umpire Dave Jackson from Ajax, Ontario. That's the trio of umpires on hand. A fine crew it is. So the Gremlins will get their first look at Kirk Santala. Batting order for the Gremlins, it'll be Redemar leading off, Malarzouk in the 2 spot, Inoka, Ochoa, and Evans 3, 4, and 5. Brian Avery hitting 6th, Nick Mullins 7th. Tane Mumu hitting 8th, and speaking of hitting, there's one in the back for Redemar. So he is aboard on a hit by pitch. Gonzalo Mazmu will hit 9th. That is the batting order for the Gremlins. Defensively for Midland, it's Guizdala out in left. Preston Sherman in center. Chaz Hopkins in right. Around the infield, it's starting at third. Dallas Kipfer at third base. Jordan Sherman at short. Paul Miklovich at second. And Owen Lukens over at first base. Fred Bradford doing the catching, and as we mentioned, Kirk Santala pitching for Midland Explorers. So they've checked on Redemar, appears to be okay. Looks like might have knocked the wind out of him, and the ball does when it hits you in the back like that. Here's Ladislao Malarzouk. Foul tip straight back to the screen. Malarzouk came into this tournament 9 for 34 with a .265 batting average. 9 hits on the year. That one stays way upstairs. He's got a handful of RBIs and a home run to go with it. So wherever he hits in the order, last night he batted 8th. Today it's 2nd. Good power. Generally you don't see it in those spots in the batting order, but Laddie can swing it. There's a one hopper down to third. Up with it is Kipfer over to first. So the putout sends Lucio Redemar down to second base.
One out that brings up the center fielder, number 89, Ben Inoka.
So the first runner in scoring position for the Gremlins. Here's Benny Noka. Benny, a case study in patience in last night's game. Walked 3 times. Add to that a hit by pitch, and he was aboard 4 times without a hit. Ball gets away from the catcher Bradford over to third. Redemar helps himself to 60 feet of real estate. Coaches for the Gremlins, that's Greg Hicks down in the third base box today. Down on the first base side, Matt Allen. Greg Leather, of course, the skipper for these Gremlins. Here, but not in the coach's box today. Let someone else stand in the sun, I suppose. Ball upstairs, looked like a changeup. Benny off to a bit of a slow start here in the 2024 season, but anyone that's seen him play over the years, that one gets away from Bradford, and coming on home easily is Redemar scoring on the pass ball. So 1-0 Gremlins in the early going. Two balls and a strike to Ben Inoka. Just a half dozen hits on the season, but half dozen RBIs to go with them. So when he hits, runs will score. Speaking of RBIs, last year in the ISC World Tournament, final day, 8 RBIs in one game. Gremlins winning that tournament, along with every other tournament they played in last year. And speaking of patience, once again, Inoka aboard with a walk. The average may not be where it normally would at this point, but certainly the on-base percentage off the charts. Here's Eric Ochoa. Eric with a big towering home run last night against Circle Tap. That one cleared the fence out in deep center field. Eric at the top of all of the offensive categories in this 2024 season for the Gremlins. Lays off the high one. Eric sporting a .429 batting average coming into the tournament, and after last night, that's gone up. Leading the team in hits with 18. 4 or 5 more than anybody else on the team. Also at the top of the list on RBIs with 15. And led coming into the tournament with 3 home runs. That number now at 4. Strike in across the letters. Benny, a veteran over at first base, but still a very athletic base runner. Way off the plate outside. We mentioned last night with Ochoa, you can pitch him away. You just have to make sure that it's way off the plate. He owns the outer half, loves to go the other way with it. Comes inside now, in for a ball. No scoreboard out in center field in operation. They tell me it was taken out by a lightning strike the day before the tournament started. You, of course, have the benefit of one on screen, so we'll follow that along with you. Laced into the gap in left center field. That's going to hit the fence on one hop. Inoka around second and will jog on around third base. Ochoa in with an RBI stand-up double, and it's 2-0 Gremlins. There you see it on the replay. Went the other way with it, but with power. That ball hit the fence hard. Benny could jog home with the second run. And Ochoa continues to tally the hits, the RBIs. Here's Cole Evans. Cole started the tournament 8 for 29 for a .276 batting average. He is second in home runs. He has a pair. He's tied with a couple of others in that category. Lucio Redemar among them. His 2 home runs, big home runs for the Gremlins. He won the Chiefs Challenge championship game with a 3-run shot in a come-from-behind victory for the Gremlins. Came out the next week, led off the tournament in Port Huron with a home run. That one stood up for a 1-0 win against the number 4 ranked Northeast Drillers. So when he hits them, he makes them count. A ball and a strike to Cole Evans. 2-0 Gremlins here in the early going. Little changeup. Good location for that one. Age-old story, pitching against good teams like this. You try and pitch them carefully, pitch around them, not give them anything to drive, but you, on the other side of the coin, you have to watch out for the walks. Adding base runners in front of these hitters. There's a great pitch. That one dipped downstairs. Cole Evans down on strikes for out number 2. And that'll bring up Brian Avery.
With 2 outs, brings up the catcher, number 33, Brian Avery.
Brian started the tournament 10 for 35. That's a .286 batting average. Already a home run to his credit in this young season. Tied for fourth in hits with 10. Tied for fourth in RBIs with 8. Always among the run producers. Little over-the-top drop, just missing outside. Ochoa still out at second base. 2 outs in the inning. Avery trying to add to that RBI total. Way upstairs. The defense for Midland straight away. Preston Sherman a little bit shallow in center field, perhaps for a hitter like Avery. In for a called strike. Good over the top drop. Good rotation on that one, dipping downstairs. Hopkins in right, shaded just a little bit towards that foul line. Outside for a ball, so Avery aboard with a walk. That's the second one of the inning. And it'll give the Gremlins runners at first and second now. Nick Mullins will be the batter.
Number 3, Nick Mullins.
Mullins, the DP in this game, not catching, so he'll get a chance to rest those knees. Nick catching the lion's share, pardon the pun, catching the lion's share of work behind the plate normally. In for a called strike across the letters. Nick was a part of that rally last night against Circle Tap. He and the youngsters around him, Panuelas and Mumu and Mazmu. Way upstairs for a ball. Great to have veterans like Mullins. Nick's been here forever as a Gremlin, able to impart his experience and knowledge of the game to the youngsters coming up. And of late, there seem to be a number of them. Redamar and Panuelas, two of the standouts. Downstairs for a ball, gets away from Bradford, but he scrambles and keeps the runners there. Change up and a good one. Just floats that one across the middle of the plate. So 1 and 2 strikes to Nick Mullins. 2 on, 2 out here in the first. 2 runs in thus far for the Gremlins. Upstairs for a ball. Deuce is wild here in the first. 2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 runs in. Floats one, that was 3-2. Floats that one in for a walk, so third free pass of the inning. That'll send Avery down to second. Ochoa coming over to third, and just like that, Gremlins once again with the bases loaded. They did it a few times last night, picking up where they left off. While we have a break in the action, we want to send along our thanks to Gremlins sponsor Bruce Tansky and his generous support of the Gremlins Network and New York Gremlins broadcasts. Thanks to Bruce, we're able to bring you these broadcasts live all over the world. We'll be here the rest of the weekend. We'll be in Elkland, Pennsylvania in another week, and Grand Rapids, Michigan after that. So, Bruce, thank you for all you do for the Gremlins team and program.
With 2 outs, brings up the right fielder, number 2, Tane Mumu.
Here's Tane Mumu. Tane, the New Zealander, getting a start at second base today. Big spot for Santala. Only down 2. Gremlins trying to break it open. In for a called strike on the outside edge. Good location from Kirk. Change up off the plate outside. With a number of the regulars of the Gremlins missing in action this weekend, Tane getting some starts, trying to make the most of his at-bats. High hopper, that one's to short, bobbled at short, picks it up and now throws back to third. They've got the runner Redamore in a rundown, couple of throws, and he's going to be out at home plate. So Redamore was in to run for, not Redamore. That was Panuelas in to run for Abry on the 2-out catcher rule. So it was Panuelas in the rundown, and the side retired. The Gremlins Network, don't go away. Home half of the second inning. So the Gremlins in that inning, 3 runs on just 1 hit. That one, of course, the double by Ochoa, but amongst them 3 walks and a hit batter. The adage, if you walk them, they will score. Gremlins get 3 in the first. 4-5-6 for Midland. That'll be Kipfer, Bradford, and Lukens. Mark Quizdala would follow if we get that far. Swing and a miss on the rise ball. So Jordan Sherman of Midland making an error on that last out, but made a nice recovery and had the sense of mind to look for a out. Caught the runner coming around third base too far. Got him in a rundown and got his team off the field and out of trouble. Could have been a lot worse. Just 3 runs for the Gremlins. Ball upstairs, high. Kuba Osic doing the pitching for the Gremlins. Brian Abry, as we mentioned, behind the plate. Over the top drop, a good hard one, but he misses away, so he gives up the first free pass and the first base runner for Midland in the form of Dallas Kipfer. That'll bring up catcher Fred Bradford. Hard shot down to Ochoa, goes to second, back to first. Double play, 1-6-3, or 3-6-3. And just like that, 2 outs in the inning.
With 2 outs, brings up the first baseman, number 9, Owen Lukens.
So Eric Ochoa flashing the leather down there at first base. He and Cole Evans turning a pair. Owen Lukens at the plate now. Owen, the first baseman for this Midland Explorer team. Changeup bounces, but he committed and swung, says our home plate umpire, Ed Otterman. Again, the umpiring crew, Otterman behind the plate, Wallace at first, and Dave Jackson down at third. Swing and a miss late on that rise ball, so Osika makes easy work of Midland in the second. No runs, no hits, and no one left after the double play. We played 2 complete. Gremlins on top, 3-0. We'll be back with more. You're watching the Ashland, Ohio tournament on the Gremlins Network. Top half of the third inning for the New York Gremlins. It'll be 9-1-2. That means Gonzalo Mazmu, and then back to the top of the shop to Lucio Redamar, Ladislao Malarzuk, and Benny Noka waiting in the wings. 3-0 Gremlins in this Saturday afternoon game here at Brookside Park in beautiful, sunny Ashland, Ohio. Temperatures in the high 70s, low 80s, not much humidity. Gorgeous place to play and some great weather to play in.
Now batting third baseman, number 66, Gonzalo Mazmu.
A little bit of a breeze blowing from center field over towards right. When our camera picks up that flag in center field, you'll see it blowing towards the scoreboard and towards the right field line, but not too hard. Here's Mazmu. Laced into left field, that's a base hit. First pitch swinging as Mazmu almost trips coming around the bag. Watch out for that first step, Gonzalo. Gets a congratulatory fist bump over there from Matt Allen coaching in the box. Good aggressive hitting by Gonzalo, and as a 9-hitter, a second leadoff hitter of sorts. Here is the leadoff hitter, Lucio Redamar. Gets the bunt down, but it's right back to the pitcher. He makes the play. Redamar successful on the sacrifice, 1-3. Moving over to second on the play is Mazmu.
With one out, brings up the right fielder, number 24, Ladislao Malarzuk.
The bunt came off a little bit hard, but Santala did not look to the runner going to second, and actually with Mazmu's speed, probably the right play. Gets the out. Here's Malarzuk. Ladislao came into the tournament hitting .265, 9 for 34 on the season. He is in the middle of the pack in hits, RBIs, and has a home run to his credit. Swing and a miss late. Good movement away from the left-hander Ladislao Malarzuk. Little flare over to the third base dugout. Out of play. Mazmu had moved up, by the way, to third. So he just 60 feet away from run number 4 if Ladislao can get him home. Tries to check his swing. They appeal and say, nope, he held up. That one comes around. They throw down to first to make sure of the out. So Malarczuk down on strikes, out number 2. It'll be up to Inoka.
Now batting the center fielder, number 89, Ben Inoka.
Benny with a walk back in the first. He scored the second run for the Gremlins. Lays off the high one. 3 walks and a hit batter for Benny last night. Doing damage even when he's not hitting the ball. Way upstairs, changeup. Outside away. Familiar count for Benny Inoka. 3 balls, no strikes. Huntala on the verge of walking him a second time. We'll see if they green light him. Didn't matter. The pitch is up out of the zone, and Inoka, a clinic on patience. 2 walks on the day. He's at first. Still down at third is Mazmu, so runners at the corners. And the best hitter on the Gremlin team thus far in the season at the plate, Eric Ochoa.
Number 8, Eric Ochoa.
Ochoa started the weekend with 18 hits. He has 19 with the home run last night and make that 20 with the double earlier in this game. So he is still in the leader spot. +16 or +16 plus RBIs, 4 home runs. In for a called strike. Sometimes you see it in a hitter. They just are very, very comfortable at the plate and what they're trying to accomplish. That is Eric Ochoa in the 2024 season. Swing and a miss late. The ball gets away from Bradford, though, and Mazmu comes in with run number 4. Looked like a changeup. Ochoa was out in front. Bradford not able to catch the ball. Down to second goes Inoka, and Mazmu, as we mentioned, coming in to score. Ball high away from Ochoa upstairs. Inside edge for called strike 3. Ochoa gives a look back at our home plate umpire, Mr. Ottoman. Didn't agree, but the call in for a strike. Inning over, side retired for the Gremlins in the inning. They do get a run on 1 hit, the single to lead off by Mazmu, and they'll take a 4-0 lead as we head to the home half of the third. We'll be back with more great action from Brookside Park in Ashland, Ohio. I'm Jim Flanagan. You are watching the Gremlins Network. Home half of the third inning for Midland. It'll be 7-8-9. Guizdala, Wark, and Hopkins. 4-0 Gremlins at this point here in the bottom of the third.
Now batting, left fielder number 8, Mark Guizdala.
Here's Guizdala. First pitch swing and fouls that one straight back to the screen. Taking a page from Gonzalo Masmu's book, be aggressive at the plate. That one's high upstairs for a ball. Swing and a miss on the riser from Cuba. Two balls and a strike. Swing and a miss. 2-2. Now it's strikeout. So in the book, second strikeout in a row for Cuba to start things off in the bottom of the third inning.
Brings up the designated player, number 18, Tony Wark.
Here's Tony Wark, the DP for Midland. Changeup floats in downstairs for a ball. Cuba with a pair of strikeouts in the first inning, had one last inning, and now notches his first in the third. True to form as a strikeout pitcher. Lifted high into center field, shallow, making a way over towards it is Inoka for the out. Two up and down quickly for Midland. It'll be the 9-hitter, Chaz Hopkins, stepping in.
Right fielder number 1, Chaz Hopkins.
Ball off the plate outside. That one's in for a strike. Swing and a miss late on that one from Cuba. A little extra velocity from the big right-hander. Drop ball, swing and a miss. Down on strikes goes Hopkins. 2 in the inning, 5 now on the day for Cuba through 3 innings. We'll head to the top half of the 4th inning. Gremlins on top by a 4-0 score. Home half of the third inning for the Gremlins. It'll be 4, 5, and 6. Evans, Avery, and Mullins. Cole Evans at the plate right now. Santala's first pitch in for a called strike. Evans, a strikeout victim back in the first. Second time to the plate in the game. In on the outside edge, good location from right-hander Kirk Santala. High for a ball. Way off the plate outside. Evans with a whale of an ISC World Tournament last year in Denmark, Wisconsin. His best moment of the 2024 season thus far, perhaps. Game-winning hit in the semifinal in Port Huron when runs were hard to come by. Gremlins taking on AWP in that semifinal game. Evans coming through with a 2-run single late in the game. That was the difference in the ball game. Put them in the championship game, which they went on to win. Foul tip over the right side. Little flare lifted out into left field. Gwiswoldala can't get to it, bounces in front of him. Evans wisely staying at first base. Looked like he was fooled on the pitch, but had enough wrist. There you see it on the replay. Just reached out and kept those hands in front. A little flare falling in front of Mark Gwiswoldala. Not much you can do as a defender out there for Gwiswoldala. A hitter like Evans, you have to play at a reasonable depth. That one was just in no man's land. Here's Brian Avery. Avery, one of 3 first-inning walks surrendered by Santala. Grounder to short, over to second. They go for the first out, not in time at first base. So fielder's choice for Avery. Evans erased on the 6-4 put out. Here you see it on the replay. Just got it off the end of the bat, not especially hard hit.
Number 3, Nick Mullins.
Jordan Sherman, the shortstop, staying right with it. Here's Nick Mullins, also one of the 3 first-inning walks. Off on the pitch is Penuelas. Steals second easily. He wants more. Picks up and heads to third where he slides in safely. The speedster from Mexico showing those skills. Gremlins staying aggressive on the bases. Abayardo. Penuelas, who ran for Avery. Back to Mullins at the plate now. Ball outside. Penuelas, we mentioned, made his debut as a New York Gremlin last night. Went 3 for 3 with a double. 2 runs scored. Already creating excitement for Gremlin fans around the world. They love what they see and would like to see more of it. Third base coach Greg Hicks whispering a word or two. Abayardo nodding as if to say, I got you, coach. Off the plate, just outside. Good location on Mullins. Ball upstairs, that's 4 of them. Again, the catcher's eye of Nick Mullins. He's aboard for the second time today with a free pass. It'll bring Tane Mumu to the plate.
Number 2, Tane Mumu.
Tane 0 for 1 in the day, reached on the error. That was that wild ending to that first inning. Ball misplayed initially by Sherman, but came through with a great throw and caught Penuelas trying to come home and score. So that'll bring a conference, probably talking about what they will do in the situation. Greg Hicks will come down from third, take advantage of the time, and talk to young Tane Mumu, the youngster from New Zealand. Among the fastest 2 players, one at the plate, one at third base right now, Penuelas and Mumu. Shows bunt, doesn't get it down. High pop fly into shallow center field. Preston Sherman's got a beat on it. Makes the catch. Penuelas cruises on home, standing up, scoring the 5th run. No chance to get the runner on a ball that deep.
With 2 outs, that brings up the third baseman, number 66.
So Tane picks up an RBI on the sac fly. Here's you see it on the replay. Got under it a bit, but deep enough to score the runner from third. That was Penuelas, who had run for Abry, if you're looking at your scorecard. Down to the 9 spot we go now. Gonzalo Masmu with Mullins still over at first base. Quick snap throw, not in time. Foul tip over the screen over on the right side. All the games here at Brookside on this field number 1. Bleachers on either side, 3 different sections of bleachers. Back in the day, they would pack the place. Had a pretty good crowd last night as the neighbors came over from the neighborhood right behind us, along with other fans. Happy to see men's elite Fastpitch back here in Ashland, Ohio. Little pop-up on the infield. They'll give chase, but no dice. That one out of play. Gremlins coach Nick McCurry has been in Ashland since the 1970s. He a transplant from Tennessee. Happy to be here in Ashland and tells me that has no plans to ever leave. Loves it here. Nick, a senior statesman, of course, a familiar face to those who have seen the movie Fastball, chronicling the travels of fast-pitch players. Old enough to say that he played back in the day when they would pack the house here in Ashland, Ohio. It's a great city. Great ballpark. Upstairs for a ball. Ball upstairs high. Credit Santala. He's done a good job of keeping his team in the game. The key with the Gremlins is to stay out of the big inning. They got 3 in the first, but it could have been worse. Just 1 last inning and 1 this inning. So still within striking distance at 5. Ball outside. Masmu is aboard with a walk. Mullins down to second. And that'll flip the batting order over for the New York Gremlins. Back to the top of the shop, Lucio Redemar.
Brings up the left fielder, number 21, Lucio Redemar.
Redemar, the first-year Gremlin here from Argentina. Got our first look at him down in Fort Myers, Florida back in January. Had a good tournament in the Fort Myers tournament. But he has really turned up the dial since the season began. Among the leaders right behind Eric Ochoa in most every offensive category. In for a call, strike on the outside edge. Home run power, we mentioned he has 2 already in the year. He was among the leaders in the recent WBSC Group B World Cup qualifier. Argentina, one of the 2 teams punching tickets for next year's World Cup. Redemar, one of the reasons. Hard one down to first. Bobbles it, picks it up, and he'll make the tag. Owen Lucan's down there for the final out. The Gremlins score a run, no hits, and 2 men left. We played 3 complete, 5-0 Gremlins. You're watching the Gremlins Network from Brookside Park in Ashland, Ohio. Top of the 4th inning, top of the batting order for the Midland Explorers. That'll be Miklovich, followed by the 2 Sherman brothers. Preston and Jordan. Miklovich, a strikeout victim in his first trip to the plate. Both starters, Osika and Santala, still in the game. In for a call, strike on the outside edge. Good location by Kuba. Grounder to short, Evans, smooth and easy over to Ochoa for the out. Right where he needed to be. Watch the replay, so smooth. Slides the feet, makes the play, and the throw. Here's Preston Sherman. Sherman also a strikeout victim back in that 3 strikeout first for Osika. First pitch swinging, fouls that one out of play on the right side. On the outside edge to Sherman. Fouled out of play over on the right side. You'll see the trees out in the distance all around this field, giving it a very ballpark feel. And targets for the home run hitters. Swing and a miss late on that pitch. Good movement on the ball from Kuba Osika. Two up and down quickly. That'll bring up the third hitter, Jordan Sherman, the shortstop for this Midland team. Strikeout number 7 on the day if you're counting for Kuba. Floats in the changeup. Nice movement. A little flutter, almost like a knuckleball. There it is again. That one stays down. Good chance to work on that pitch for the youngster. 5-0 lead here. Lifted out into shallow left field. Started back and then having to come on and make the running catch out there is Redemar. Nice defensive play. Looked like he might have lost his footing on the first step, but recovered nicely. Here you see it on the replay. Kind of hard to see at that distance, but managed to recover and come on and make the catch for out number 3. So 3 up and down in the inning, 3 no runs, no hits, nobody left for the Explorers. To the 5th we go, 5-0 Gremlins. Home half of the 4th inning for the Gremlins. A pitching change for Midland. It'll be Kyle Linton from Canada coming on in place of Kirk Santala. So if you're keeping a scorecard, number 27, Kyle Linton coming on to pitch. So you can close the book on Kurt Santala. He'll be charged with the 5 runs on the scoreboard right now. There you see a nice aerial shot thanks to the wizardry of our friend Luciano Lofrano and all of his tech and toys at Softball Premier TV. That the drone giving you the bird's eye view of a beautiful ballpark here in Ashland. Preston Sherman doing the catching for Midland. Thank you, Tim Mazio. Fastpitch #1 fan making the trek from his home, as he does for many of the major tournaments. Always great to have a chat with Tim and see him on hand. He's got himself the best seat in the house right downstairs below us, behind home plate. 2-3-4 for the Gremlins. That'll be Ladislao Malarzuk, Inoka, Ochoa, and if we get further than that, Evans. So Preston Sherman, that started in center, is now behind the plate. Thanks for the assist, Tim. Swing and miss late on the riser. A little more velocity from Kyle Linton, I think, than Santala. But as we said, Kirk doing a pretty good job against this offensive juggernaut that is the New York Gremlins. A little flare over to the left side, making the catch is Dallas Kipfer over in foul territory. So Laddie 0 for 3 on the day. Here's Benny Noka, 2 walks on the day, 3 last night, plus for good measure a hit by pitch. Benny's actually been plunked a couple of times, got hit hard in the Port Huron tournament. I don't know that I think he stands that close to the plate, but I guess you're still a base runner if you don't mind the bumps and bruises. First pitch is in for a called strike. Nice curve on that one. Little riser moving away from the right-hander. Nice tight spin on that rotation. You can see it from up here on the second level press box. You can imagine what it looks like to Inoka downstairs. Way inside. Did it hit him? Almost. Benny's probably wondering, why me? That one sails to the screen way outstairs. Three balls and 1 strike. 3-1 swinging is Benny Noka, nodding his head, saying, I got that one. Had a pretty good hack at it. Might have been ball 4, but at some point Benny wants to swing it. Straightaway center field going back is Sherman, and way back to make the catch out around the warning track. Benny Noka putting a good charge into that one. Here you see it on the replay. Look for the location up in the zone. Lifts it high and deep, just not quite deep enough. So 2 up and down for Kyle Linton in the inning. Eric Ochoa will step in. Eric 1 for 2 on the day. RBI double back in the first. Called third strike last time up. Both of those at-bats against the starter, Kirk Santala. And that one hits Ochoa. So new target.
Now batting the shortstop, Cole Evans.
let the catcher run through the signs, keep that batter guessing. Strike on the outer half. Good riser from Linton. Good location, upper end of the zone. A ball and 2. Strike 3, swing and a miss by Evans, down on strikes. Good inning by Kyle Linton for the Gremlins. No runs, no hits, a man left. We've played 4 complete. The score, New York Gremlins 5, Midland Explorers nothing. You're watching the Gremlins Network from Brookside Park in beautiful Ashland, Ohio. Top of the 5th inning, Dallas Kipfer will lead things off for the Midland Explorers. 4, 5, and 6 in the batting order. He'll be followed by Fred Bradford and Owen Lukens. Gremlin starter Kuba Osika still in the circle. Has been in command, 7 strikeouts through the first 4 innings. Sails that one to the screen. Just keep you guessing. Just don't hit the mascot. Swing and a miss late on the riser away from the right-hander. One hopper down to Ochoa at first base. He'll make easy work of it. 3 unassisted if you're keeping a card with us at home. The batter for Midland will be the catcher, Fred Bradford. I think they said Preston Sherman had moved over to catcher. Didn't get a report on that, but unofficially. Swing and a foul tip. Floats in the changeup for a strike. Good time to throw it when it's not expected. Misses inside for a ball. If you joined us late, the Gremlins scored 3 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 more in the third. Those runs all charged to starter Kirk Santala. Kyle Linton has come on in the 4th. Two of the 3 runs scoring in the first were unearned. Redemar aboard on a hit batter. Benny Noka on a walk. Ochoa, the big hit, the double. Called strike 3, and Kuba has 8.
Now batting, first baseman, Owen Lukens.
So too quickly up and down for the Explorers. Owen Lukens will be the batter. in for a called strike. Lukens, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Kuba's had 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 more in the third, and now 1 more in the fifth. There you see a nice shot from the outfield area. Ball high upstairs. That little brown building you see behind home plate, that's where we are up on the second level. Great view of the game. Happy to share it with you. I want to remind viewers there are other games being streamed by Softball Premier TV. Check his website for that schedule. Those in addition to those that I'm broadcasting here on the Gremlins Network. Last night's game with Midland and AWP among those. Some of the local talent sitting in to bring you that broadcast. Swing and a miss, and he's down on strikes. 9 in the game for Kuba. 3 up and down quickly for Midland in the fifth. No runs, no hits, and no one left. To the home half of the fifth we go. Still Gremlins on top by a 5-0 score. You're watching the Gremlins Network. Don't go away. You want to be around for the finish of this one. Home half of the fifth inning for the Gremlins. 6, 7, 8. That's Avery, Mullins, and Mumu. Avery a walk and a fielder's choice thus far. Floats that one in for a strike on the outside edge. Swing and a miss. Avery coming out of his shoes on that one. Brian with arguably the longest home run of the season for the Gremlins. That hit up in Saskatoon, clearing both fences and some of the trees beyond. So great power in the bat. Spray chart for Brian's hitting. Many colored and many fields. He'll go every direction. But I think his power, dead pull. Swing and a miss late on the riser. Good pitch. Good location by Kyle Linton. First out of the fifth. Watch it on the replay. See the movement he's getting up and away. Dust in the glove. You can see it kick up. Another view of it there from the side. Great camera work by our friends at Softball Premier TV. Here's Mullins. Like Inoka, has a pair of walks today. He's been aboard twice. In for a called strike, inside edge. Paint it black. Downstairs misses. Little curve just off the outside part of the plate for a ball. And Mullins, his third walk. So Nick Mullins equaling Benny Noka's total of 3 walks last night. But Benny with 3 of his own and a couple more today, I think still with the edge in the walk competition. Here's Tane Mumu. Tane aboard on an error and a sac fly RBI for run number 5. Two hopper out to second. He'll flip with the glove over to short, back to first in time. Nifty double play turn by the Midland Explorers. Second baseman Paul Miklovich with a nice glove feed to the shortstop up and over to first to Owen Lukens for the end of the double play. Quick inning on the Gremlins. No runs, no hits, and nobody left. We played 5 complete. And that is also the score, 5. 5-0 Gremlins. Come on back for the 6th. Mark Wisdala leading things off here in the 6th. Early getting late for the Explorers, still looking for that first run. 7, 8, 9 this inning. Wisdala will be followed by Wark and Chaz Hopkins. And back to the top of the order if they get that far. In for a called strike. So Kyle Linton posting a couple of scoreless innings against these Gremlins in the 4th and 5th, doing what the skipper has asked of him. That, of course, Craig Scott also doubles as the third base coach. That was a strike out for the first out of the inning, strikeout number 10. So Cuba in Jack Besgrove territory, double-digit strikeouts in the game. Tony Wark, the batter. Work a fly out to Ben Inoka in center last time up. Right down the heart of Main Street, right at the belt for a called strike. In on the outside edge, that little over-the-top rotation from Osika. High pop-up in the infield. Ochoa will give chase over in foul territory. Fights off the sun and makes the catch for the out.
Now batting for the Explorers, right fielder Chaz Hopkins.
Some bright sunlight out there today. Eric Ochoa making that look easy, but it was anything but. 2 up and down quickly. We're down to the 9 spot, Chaz Hopkins. Hopkins, a strikeout victim, his first time up against Cuba. There's that over-the-top drop on the outside edge, moving away from the right-hander. A little body English on it by Cuba. There's the riser away. So over the top, away, riser away. Down and up. Change up perhaps. Hard one, down to second base on a hop. Mumu, quick work over to Ochoa on the 4-3 putout. 3 up and down for Midland in the inning. Middle of the 6th inning, still 5-0 Gremlins. You are watching the Ashland, Ohio tournament from beautiful Brookside Park. I'm Jim Flanagan. Come on back for more. (9-1-2) for the Gremlins. That'll be Gonzalo Masmu to start things off. Gonzalo 1 for 1 on the day, a single to left to lead off the second. Reached on a walk after that, so he's been aboard both times today. Ball high upstairs. Couple of free passes issued by Linton. Hit a batter, hit Ochoa in the 4th, walked Mullins in the 5th, but no hits surrendered to this point. Thanks to a strikeout in the 4th, he was able to escape any damage thanks to the nifty double play. Turned by Paul Miklovic. And Jordan Sherman able to get out of trouble in the 5th. Fouled over on the right side, just about takes Lucio Redemar out. Another foul ball. That one's out of play on the right side. Gonzalo Masmu continuing to hack away. Good contact hitter is Masmu. Grounder foul on the left side. Somebody put a couple more quarters in. to the machine. Gonzalo Mazmu getting his money's worth up there right now. Redemar on deck, Malarczuk to follow. Little flare over on the right side. It's going to drop foul. Inside, and he hits Mazmu. Third free pass surrendered by Linton in his third inning of work now. 2 hit batters and a walk, but no hits yet. Here's Lucio Redemar. Redemar 0 for 2 on the day. 0 for 1. Sacrifice in the second. Hit by a pitch, that from Kirk Suntala to lead off the game. Lucio came around to score the first of the 5 runs for the Gremlins. Off on the pitch, having to go back and hold. Deep to right field up against the fence. Great catch by Lukens. Looked like he got hooked on the top of the fence, but managed to hold on. Mazmu was off on the pitch, but had to stop and wait to see if the ball would be caught, and it was. Great catch by Lukens out in right field. And I'm told they called Mazmu out for leaving the base early on the pitch, so 2 outs. Trying to get that extra jump was Gonzalo. So that brings Redemar back to the plate. Something that we saw happen last night when one of the Circle Tap players forgot to re-enter the game. Redemar had grounded out to him. They brought him back to the plate. And then he turned around and got a sacrifice fly to drive in what turned out to be the game-winning run. They will start calling Redemar the Cat, he of 9 lives. So all of that with the catch by Lukens for naught. Ball away outside. Misses downstairs for a ball.
Lumberjacks haven't come to get their green ball or anything yet.
I can go down there and talk to them. While you're doing this, I might head home real quick and take a bath.
In for a call strike on the outside edge. Full count now on Lucio Redemar. Malarczuk would be next. Swing and a miss. Redemar down on strikes. So after flying out to right, Redemar brought back to the plate when the runner left early. And in the end, Linton records the out on a strikeout. Here's Ladislao Malarczuk. Malarczuk 0 for 3 on the day. Ground out, strikeout, pop-up. Laced to left field, just foul. Want to remind viewers another broadcast here on the Gremlins Network coming up right after this game. Featuring your New York Gremlins. They'll be taking on the AWP Lumberjacks from DuQuoin, Illinois. We see the Lumberjacks sitting down on the third baseline, making their preparations for that game. They defeated Midland yesterday in the early game. They took a 2-1 lead into the 7th. Midland tied it at 2, only to have the Lumberjacks come back and win it on a walk-off. Foul tip back to the screen. A ball and 2 strikes to Ladislao Malarzuk. Just upstairs. They appeal the call, did not swing, says our third base umpire, Dave Jackson. Little rise curve, lifted foul territory over on the right side. Lucan's given chase and comes up with a great sliding catch. 2 great catches down there for Lucan's in the inning. Only one that will appear in the scorebook, but some great defense by the right fielder for Midland. And the side retired for the Gremlins in the inning. No runs, no hits, and no one left. We've played 6 complete. Last call for Midland. We'll be back with that right after this. You're watching the Gremlins Network from Ashland, Ohio. Top of the order once again for Midland. This is their last shot here in the 7th. Miklovich, Sherman, and Sherman. We talked in last night's broadcast about the connection Ashland, Ohio, and the local town of Mansfield have to everyone's favorite movie, The Shawshank Redemption. Ashland, Ohio, also known for a balloon fest that they hold every year. Started back in 1990. So if you're a math major, you figured out this year was the 34th anniversary of that balloon fest right here in Ashland, Ohio. Ashland, known as being the balloon capital of the world in the 1960s for their manufacture of balloons. They started the Balloon Fest in 1990 as part of the 175th anniversary celebration of Ashland, and it's become an annual event ever since. Ashland has been on the map for quite some time. Ashland University, just around the corner from here, established way back in 1878. Little grounder foul in front of the plate. So Brian Avery getting some catching time for the Gremlins in this one, the third catcher used on the season. Of course, Nick Mullins, the regular, and Blake Hunter getting plenty of time when Nick takes a break normally. Blake and Matthew Waugh, who were at the qualifier for Canada, not here this weekend. Swing and a miss. Miklovich is out on strikes for the first out of the inning. 11 strikeouts for Kuba Osika as he has the finish line in sight. Here's Preston Sherman. Good hard over the top drop for a called strike. Swing and a miss late on the drop. Kuba has been all around the plate all day long. Just the walk to Kipfer in the second, the only free pass surrendered. In for called strike three. There's a even dozen strikeouts for Osika. Here's brother Jordan Sherman. Last hope for Midland. Off the plate outside for a ball. In for a called strike.
Those guys won't give me a lineup until they know who's pitching down here. And these guys don't know who's pitching down here. And they were warming up and they didn't want anything to do with me.
In for a called strike on the outside edge.
So I'm going to run home real quick while you're doing this. Take care of my stuff. I'll be right back.
Foul tip back to the screen. We'll do it again. Off the plate away for a ball. A ball and two. Kuba needing just one more out to close things out here for the Gremlins. In for called strike three. A baker's dozen. 3 strikeouts in the inning, 13 on the day for Kuba Osika. A no-hitter. Just a walk in the second inning away from a perfect game. Outstanding performance by the youngster from the Czech Republic. Final score here, New York Gremlins 5, Midland Explorers nothing. We'll reset the dials and be back shortly for the 3 p.m. scheduled broadcast. 3:45 p.m. Eastern time at the moment, so look for that one to be an hour late starting, as was this one. Coming up, AWP Lumberjacks from DuQuoin, Illinois, taking on the New York Gremlins on the Gremlins Network. We'll see you in a few.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com. Live it on softball.